going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 27 of the League Report. Lots of action this week in the NBA. Couple of things we got going on. First topic, first of the day. Marcus Smart, he has some interesting things to say in the media these past couple of days. Carl, are you familiar with what he shared with everyone?
Yeah, he basically in a nutshell said Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown not passing the ball enough. It's only so much I can do just sitting in the corner and waiting to shoot threes.
Said exactly that. And the funny thing about it is that, first of all, let me commend Blake for his intro, because that was amazing. That was spot on. So let me commend him for the intro. But no, it's funny because we literally talked about that very subject on last episode. And it was funny. You know, what was funny was all the stuff that we talked about that episode ended up like happening that night. Like we talked about Franz Wagner being an impressive rookie, and then he went in and got like 28 points the other night. And then we talked about the Celtics, you know, doing a lot of ISO ball and not passing the ball enough. And then we see that same night, Marcus Smart comes out and makes the comment that, you know, he doesn't, they don't want to pass the ball. And as Carl said, that, you know, he's just sitting in the corner and all of that good stuff. My question to you guys is, do you think this should have been something that's kept in-house, or do you think he was justified by saying that out in public to the media?
I think when it comes to, I wouldn't really call it critiquing. I call it kind of like criticizing. When it comes to kind of criticizing another teammate's game, I don't think that's something that you should probably, you know, put out in public. I think that's like huddle or locker room talk, personally. Because I know I wouldn't, if we was all playing, and I'm telling Ty, you know, Ty or Carl, like, you know, we need to move the ball around a little bit more. I wouldn't go out to the media and talk about, well, Ty and Carl, they not moving the ball. They need to start moving the ball. They're not doing what they need to be doing. That's just how I feel about it. I don't know how they would take it, but I would just be like, that's kind of wait till we, you know, together. That's kind of a team thing to talk about.
Yeah.
I'd agree. I mean, it's like, I think Carl mentioned it too, though. Carl said there's also a possibility that he's told him before, and then it's continued to be an issue, because everybody knows it's an issue. It's been an issue for how many years now? You know what I'm saying? It's not like a surprising thing. So it's
Tatum was drafted almost.
Yeah, you know, at the same time, like him saying it publicly is not, it can't be, I don't want to make it seem like it's a strategic thing. Like, okay, I've said it many times to you guys before, so now the next best step is to go say it in public. No, like, it's not strategic. It seemed like it was said out of frustration, you know, but that's understandable if they've made that a point of emphasis for the last 2 or 3 years or whatever, and it's just not happening. And Marcus Smart is getting sick of it. He hasn't been his absolute best self the last couple of years or whatever, but, you know, you do have a right to feel disappointed, because, like I said, everybody in this chat knows that the Celtics playing a bunch of ISO ball and those two guys not playmaking enough has been an issue for a long amount of time now. So, like I said, it was all out of frustration. You know, when you see a guy frustrated like that and you put it into context, you could say it's justifiable, but strategically it's probably not the best thing. Do you guys think it'll affect, I mean, they just got to win against Orlando, but that's Orlando. Do you guys think it'll affect this team moving forward? Like, do you think it'll be a chemistry issue for the squad as they move over the next couple of games?
They might have like some, I don't know if it's going to affect chemistry, but it's definitely going to affect maybe just them as a team, because they had a players only meeting and they said that went nowhere. That was like yesterday. Yeah. I think they had, even though they beat the Magic, if you watch that game, they still didn't look necessarily great.
Yeah, they weren't their best selves.
Magic. Yeah, because so I don't know if it's I know this. I feel like somebody's going to get traded.
Yeah, Carl. I know Carl has said it. Somebody. I think so too. Yeah, at least somebody in there is getting traded for the deadline.
Yeah, very true. And it's kind of like, I don't know who it'll be, but I don't want to sit here and act like this team hasn't made any moves. Like we said it last episode, you know, they made a lot of moves. They brought in Dennis Schroeder to try to alleviate some of their playmaking issues. Same with bringing in Al Horford and all of that. And it just still, you know, as I said, it's early. We probably repeated that very point about 1 million times now. You know, but hopefully they can get it worked out. I didn't even know about the player meeting thing. They had a player meeting yesterday. They said they didn't move forward or anything, and nothing really happened out of it.
No, they said people were just talking. That's what Adrian Woj. I can't.
That's what Woj said. Yeah. We'll see. It's an interesting situation in Boston, and the funny thing about it is you don't really get this type of drama that early into the season. I mean, that's partially true. I mean, we got the Ben Simmons thing in Philly, which we may talk about a little bit more in the during the episode, but you know, you don't really get that type of stuff you usually get something like this maybe mid-season where a guy gets fed up with a team's playing style. You know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking of another time. Remember LeBron made the comment where he was like, we need an effing playmaker back when, was this the first year he was with Cleveland with Kyrie and them, or was that the second year?
Yeah, I think it was the first year, and he said we're top heavy as F or whatever.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the first year.
Yeah, he said something like, we need a playmaker, and then people were saying, oh, that's a passive-aggressive jab at Kyrie and everything like that. And that happened early in the season. So we've seen it happen. We've actually seen it happen a couple of times where teams just kind of or a guy gets fed up with the team's playing style and he comes out publicly and says something. Great thing about it is it's just so early. And this is a team that, has been known to kind of have somewhat of a level of implosion, over the last couple of years. So it's never really good to see. But as Carl said, if you're a Celtics fan and you saw that win against Orlando, it's not convincing that anything really changed. First of all, you scored 92 points in that game. You beat Orlando 92-89. I think it was at home. It may have been at home. I don't remember where they played at, but it just, I think it was at home. Yeah. And it wasn't even a stellar game from Jayson Tatum. I think Jayson Tatum scored under 20 in that game.
Points.
14 points. Yep. And, didn't shoot it that well from the floor. I mean, they were in the low 40s, which is decent, but they were in the 20s from three. So there's still a bunch of issues that need to be solved in Boston, and I think, for Marcus Smart to say it, as I said, strategically probably wasn't the best idea. But if you're frustrated and you've been seeing a recurring issue over the last couple of years, and Smart has been a Celtic since maybe 2014. He's probably the longest tenured guy on this team. He probably is the longest tenured guy on this team.
I think he is,
Yeah. So you see where the frustration comes from, and hopefully they can pick it up. And as I said, I don't want to give him every pass in the world, because he hasn't been his absolute best self, over the last couple of years. And he clearly wasn't the answer as a team starting point guard, and still isn't. They still have a lot of ways to go. I think they're maybe in the lower half of the league as far as assist percentage, which is basically how many of their points are come off of assists. So they're still, as Carl always says, an ISO heavy team. And that has to be solved if they want to end up trying to win a title, which they have more than enough talent to do. This team has talent to win a title, point blank, period. There's no excuse about that. So, hopefully they can get it fixed. I don't like seeing this type of stuff, especially with Jayson Tatum, who's a local guy. You know what I mean? Like, he went to our rival high school. His dad coached at our high school, if you guys didn't know. So, you never like seeing stuff like this. Hopefully they can get fixed. Coach Tatum. You watching what's up? Yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Marcus Smart might be a little mad that he's not, playing at his Oklahoma State for him.
Yeah.
Remember, he used to go one-on-one. He was an offensive player.
Yeah.
At Oklahoma State. So I don't know, but
yeah,
they just need a point guard. That's really their problem.
Yeah. I was about to say that same thing. I really think. I think most of this will be alleviated with the addition of a legit point guard. Something they should have done. I think they've had the opportunity to do like 2 years running, and they just chose not to. So,
and people are going to listen. Yeah, no, people are going to listen to what you said, Blake, and they're going to say, well, they had Kyrie or they had Kemba Walker, and he's not
Kyrie. They're not real point guards. Kyrie should be a shooting guard, and Kemba Walker is just not a legit playmaker.
They're scoring guards.
Yeah.
They're not point guards.
If you want to
if you go back at least 4 or 5 years, the line of point guards they've had, Kyrie, Kemba, and now Dennis Schroeder. Those are scoring focused guards. The only legit point guard I can remember them having is Rondo. And that's been
10 years ago.
Yeah, that's been a long time.
Damn, that has been 10 years ago, pretty much, right?
Mm-hmm.
2013 was 2013. I remember he got towards ACL 2013. Damn, that almost has been 10 years ago. And then like people are gonna say, like, whenever we talk about having two wings together like that, the way it's just hard to make it work if you don't have a point guards who can make at a high level to complement that. It's just difficult having three dudes who are so scoring minded on the same team. That was the issue with Boston, when they had Kyrie, as Blake mentioned. And then with Kyrie, what a lot of people try to say is it was okay, he was a locker room cancer and then he was a bad teammate. No, the issue was just we're trying to pair two guys who are trying to become scorers in Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum with a guy who's already an established scorer, not much of a playmaker. Same issue with Kemba. And also Kemba just wasn't that healthy. And then as Blake mentioned again, you go out there and get Dennis Schroeder, and never in his career was Dennis Schroeder known as a high-level playmaker. He's always been okay, but I don't remember him being this transcendent level playmaker to match with those guys they have already. So, and like I said, only true point guard they've got now is Peyton Pritchard, and I don't even remember seeing him on the court a ton so far this season. And we talked about that over the summer. So we'll see what happens. But I hate to see this with Boston, honestly. Hopefully they can get it fixed up. And they've got time, as we always say. It's way too early in the season. But as you said, there's clearly an issue if Marcus Smart is coming out and he's saying these sorts of things this early. So.
Yeah. Don't forget they had Gordon Hayward at one point too.
Who can also play make a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah, true. So it's like, yeah, they've had their opportunities, and that's where some of the front office stuff comes in mind. I don't want to totally shit on what they did this offseason either. Because like I said, it could work some point down the road. Who knows? Maybe somebody has a change of heart. Carl, I don't think so. Maybe it could. But as I said, I don't want to. We say this 1,000 times. It's early, but there's something to react to here. We've got a teammate coming out and making these comments, so we'll see what happens with it. Moving forward into the season. Carl, there was one subject you wanted to talk about that is gonna get pretty entertaining. There was a Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen came out and said some things about your boy Michael Jordan. Talk about that a little bit. What did Scottie come out and say?
Yeah, I'm gonna say something then and give it to Blake because I know Blake got a lot to say about it. It's basically Scottie was feeling I think it was in his book, right? Didn't he write a book? It was
he wrote a book.
Yeah, it was something about his book. He was basically saying him and Mike were never friends. He feel like Mike tried to portray him as not as an equal, and people in the media were like, well, Michael Jordan never won without Scottie, but then other people saying Scottie never won without Mike, which both of them are true. But I really want to hear what Blake got to say about it because I know
talk about it, man. Get it off your chest.
There's at least I'm trying to see, but I had one pulled up. There's at least 3 or 4 quotes where Michael. Well, first of all, going back to what Carl said when I think earlier Pippen had said that him and Jordan were never really friends. Let me see. Yeah, there's at least I don't know if y'all have ever watched his Have y'all watched Jordan's his Hall of Fame induction?
Yeah,
I think I did. Yeah.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
So he mentions Scottie Pippen at least 3 or 4 times throughout that whole thing. He talks about how Pippen pushed him to be better. Their relations, how they had a good relationship between each other. And what I don't understand is why now I can understand the Last Dance. He thinks they all got portrayed bad in the Last Dance, but all that mess. But dude, he's flipped back and forth so much, like it doesn't even make sense. If you don't like him, just say you don't like him and just leave it at that. Don't keep flipping back and forth, being all wishy-washy about it.
I think he's jealous, bro.
That's kind of what it's starting to sound like, dude. Because first of all, I remember a couple years ago, he said, "Oh, Jordan, he'll never be touched," and then he comes back and says, "Well, LeBron is better." It was like the all around better than him, and now he's saying it doesn't make any sense.
He has said multiple times Michael Jordan is by far better than LeBron. Then he'll come back a year later. I agree with you there. Say LeBron's better, and then he'll say even Kobe's better. Make up your damn mind. You keep doing all this damn flip flopping.
You know what it is, man? It's a couple things. One, all of them were mad because of The Last Dance. Horace Grant was mad. Scottie was mad. A couple other guys were mad because of how they were portrayed. When you went and did the documentary, here's my issue with The Last Dance documentary. When you went and did the documentary, most of that documentary there was a whole episode dedicated to you guys talking about how much of an asshole Michael Jordan was and talking about, well, he had to do it so we can win.
Well, hold on. I got one. Keep in mind, he gave it the okay to drop the documentary during LeBron's championship parade. Yeah. That's a problem, but
But yeah,
it's one quote I want to read real quick. Scottie Pippen, he was inducted into the Hall of Fame a year after Jordan. He says about Jordan, "Thank you for being the best teammate. I will always cherish the experience we had together, and I will cherish our relationship and friendship forever."
Damn, Scottie, you moonwalking. You going backwards.
So what the issue is he's realizing how ridiculous it is that you're glorifying a grown man who picked on y'all. Michael Jordan picked on y'all, point blank, period. Michael Jordan bullied Tony Kukoc. Remember, he did the thing. Remember the statement. He did something about Tony Kukoc. Or it was either Luke Longley or Tony Kukoc. And then there are just some stories.
It was during the Dream. I think the Dream Team, they was playing against him. And
this was a different one about Luke.
Was that different?
This is a different one that was about Luke Longley. But what Jordan does, what Jordan does is Jordan's going to put you on the spot. So when you look at some of the stuff in hindsight and when you look at the stuff you're older and you're like, oh, damn, this dude was really tricking, bullying us and all of this stuff. He was bullying y'all. He was punking y'all. And then you guys got caught up in the hype and the point that he helped get y'all to however many championships you guys won when you were with that team. And then you allowed it. And then now you're grown and you're looking back, or you're older because you're always grown, but you're older and you're looking back at it. And then now you're seeing, oh, he bullied, it's unfair how he's depicted. You okayed this behavior a long time ago. Then when you filmed this documentary, you continued with it. And then now you're looking back at it all. And then you're seeing how you guys are disrespected and how you're being depicted. And so now it's an issue. That's why you always have to be careful with that type of stuff. You have to be careful when I don't want to just become like a personal, advice show or whatever, but you have to, you have to be careful with how you're being treated, because you're going to sit there and okay all of this stuff. And you look back at it and you look at it like, oh, now I got picked on a long time ago, but I wasn't peeping it out because I was caught up in the hype. Same happened.
They trading personal respect for rings. So.
Right, man.
They let this dude, grown man, they about the same age, and some of them was actually bigger than them at Horace Grant.
Yeah.
Horace Grant.
You gonna let a grown man on the plane tell you I ain't gonna eat? A grown man.
Was this Scott now? What? Yeah, my bad.
Go ahead.
Remember, what's the other dude? My bad, I cut you off. But what's the other dude's name that he was like? He said, "Mike, don't say this. My kids, my parents are gonna see this."
Scott Burrell, I think.
Remember that?
What was that? I don't know if I remember that one.
This is a clip where they was on a plane.
I think that when they was on the plane.
Yeah, Michael Jordan was talking about how Scott Burrell was getting it on with a bunch of women, and then Scott Burrell was like, "Mike, my mom is watching this or whatever," and then she's gonna see this, and Mike just kept going on. When you see this footage, and they kept on putting out the footage of him calling everybody a B word and all of this stuff, yeah, I'm gonna get mad. That's all your fault because you okayed this behavior 30-some years ago. Yep,
they allowed it.
Yep, I don't want to hear it, Scottie.
The crazy part is that Steve Kerr was the only one that somewhat stood up to get punked by that.
And he the smallest.
Exactly.
It may have been some other guys. I think it may have been some other guys. Horace Grant actually did stand up to him. There was another documentary. He said, "I'm gonna hit you." What do you say, Carl?
What year is that? Because I don't remember.
He said he gonna hit his knees with a 2x4 next time you do. So he said something like that. He said he gonna hit his knees with a 2x4.
Yeah, but to me, if a grown man, I'm on the plane and he tell me because I ain't play well, I can't have no food. You know what I'm gonna do?
What?
Right when he get his food, I'm gonna go in his face and snatch all that food out of his plate and eat in front of his plate and take that plate and smack him upside the head with it, and go back down and sit in my seat.
Yeah. Y'all think Mike had hands?
He ain't had the most hands on.
He don't got the best hands. I say this, he don't got the best hands not to get his ass whooped.
Right. Yeah. He didn't have the best hands in the NBA at all. So he wasn't. They were, like I said, they were so caught up in the hype because you remember Shaq saying he could walk down the court with Mike and thought it was, what did he say? He thought it was God or something like that. So them dudes were so caught up in the hype, they allowed themselves to get bullied. It's like the little man complex. Like you ever see those little old movies?
Little man syndrome.
Those old little cartoons, and it's always the short dude yelling at the two criminals, and it's always the shorter criminal bullying the taller one.
Look, like them little chihuahuas.
Yeah.
Barking at the big dog.
So that's because you're so caught up in the hype that you just don't realize that you're being picked on. That's what it was. You know what I mean?
You a grown man worshiping another grown man.
Yeah.
I wish that nigga would, bro.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's just, it's like it's sad to see, and Scottie still is what he is. And I will say this, Mike gave him credit. Mike did give Scottie credit, but in the Hall of Fame speech and even in the documentaries, Mike says, if without Scottie, I'm not who I am. And without Scottie, I don't win 6 rings, and that's obvious too. And Scottie's no bum. Scottie almost won MVP, when Mike was out, you know what I mean? So it's just funny seeing it, and it's like, you guys are just now realizing how much you were getting disrespected and everything like that, and you're showing the older footage. Like nobody likes seeing older footage of them, from like 30 some years ago. So
it's just my problem is, even though it might be some truth to it, why are you just now starting to figure out like, oh, he was punking us? Like, are you stupid?
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny to me. My dad said something about it too. He said something. He said, I forgot what he said in particular, but it was something around the grounds of what we were saying was, you let a guy disrespect you because you bought into the hype, and then you were so into the hype that now years later, you're realizing how much you were disrespected and everything like that. Now you want to complain about it, and nothing's gonna happen. The document Last Dance ain't going nowhere.
Lost in the sauce.
Yeah, Last Dance ain't good. Last Dance gonna stay up on Netflix in 30 for 30. It ain't going nowhere. So that's out there. So
it ain't going there. It ain't going nowhere. He probably gonna win some Grammy. I mean, some Emmys or something.
If it didn't win any already, I'm not even sure if it.
He probably did. It's just the fact that he portrayed himself. The way he just basically made everybody look bad in that documentary is so bad to me. It was entertaining, no doubt. But I'm just saying, like, the fact he made some of them dudes look like chump change.
Yeah.
Kind of scanned.
I love it.
The day that the Last Dance was announced, let's be honest. Everyone in this chat and every man in America, every person in America said, "Oh, Michael Jordan." That's the first thing that came to everybody's mind. We're gonna get behind the scenes footage of Michael Jordan. What's the first clip?
We all nobody thought.
But you all have to keep in mind we're only going to get the footage he wants us to see.
Remember,
There's some other stuff he didn't put in that thing that his teammates were saying, "Why you even show that? Why you even show this?"
True, they were saying that, and even they were even overrating some of the footage. Like, they're trying to always do the thing where we're saying, he's this ultra. I mean, we know he has a great work ethic, obviously, but they milked it a little bit when they were showing some of the footage. Like, they were slowing the footage down and playing the music in the background. He was yelling at him. I'm like,
they would zoom
hilarious.
in.
Some of that was her.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say they would zoom in on his face and make him kind of look just like this intimidating person and play the music, like you're saying.
It's like, this is stuff people say on the doggone rec court, bro. Like, I was watching, I was like, this is what y'all got? You know what I mean? Now, I'm not questioning his work ethic, and I'm not questioning how, competitive he was. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing is this: we all knew it was a Michael Jordan documentary. Stop talking about it. Stop talking about it. You know what I mean? Your legacy is what it is. You allowed yourself to get not disrespected. You allowed yourself to be depicted a certain way in that documentary. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. It's just funny. Scottie's going on a rampage right now. It's just funny to see.
I mean, you can call it what it is. They got disrespected, but yeah. I won't name names, but I feel like I have a feeling I know where this anger is really coming from.
What's that?
What do you mean?
Some of his other situations.
Oh. Think about
there
it.
is.
Yeah, think about it. We talked about. Remember when we talked about Malik Beasley?
Yeah, Scottie Pippen has a lot to prove, man. He got something to prove. Like he definitely does. So, yeah. I mean, and look, like I said, I don't want to take anything away from Scottie. Probably hell of a dude.
He's a beast.
Scottie was no joke on that court. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
he's
cool. He was a fool on that court.
He was a fool on the court. But you just can't. You can't. It's too late now, bro. You know what I mean? We're seeing all this stuff come out. Yeah, Michael Jordan did.
They did. I guess they made Scottie feel this way. They made him actually see how soft he was looking. I guess.
Yeah.
I think that's what made him mad, because they had times where he didn't play against the Pistons and he had migraines or back problems. He couldn't play against the Pistons, so they made him kind of look soft. People where Michael Jordan kind of made him look like that. I don't know if you remember that time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's ridiculous stuff, and it's like, I don't even. It's not even much else I can say about it, because it's like, it honestly is what it is, And like I said, his legacy, speaks for itself. Scottie Pippen is the player that we all know he is, and it's like I said, it's always sad seeing the darker side of great dynasties and all of that, but ain't no there's nothing that can be done right now.
Yeah, it'll be all right. About 2-3 months, they'll forget it. Who cares?
Yeah.
No,
yes, they will.
Yeah.
Yes, they will. You think he's been sitting on this all this time?
I'm
mad about Mike.
You thought
he been thinking about that all that time. Give him 2-3 months. By Christmas, he won't care anymore.
Yeah.
You thought after it came out, you thought he was done with it, and then now you come out with this book and talking about it again. It's gonna keep happening.
Yeah, it's like, why are you? It's like
it's gonna keep happening because of monetary gain. That's why.
Yeah.
It's like everything in the world is because of that.
Yeah, it's like, what are we getting from this? So yeah, shout out to Scottie, but it was something we had to address because it was all over the place.
Let me ask you this: is Scottie a top 5 all-time two-way player?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. He right at he right around that 5.
That's tough because then that's tough because you have to name a lot of big men before him. Like Hakeem is probably the best two-way player of all time. Then you've got Tim Duncan, you have to throw in there. Then you got different names. KG.
He probably top 10. We don't want to get into that too deep.
Yeah. For sure.
That's a weird what's the word I'm looking for?
Situation?
No, not situation. What called category. That's a weird kind of weird.
Scottie Pippen, Scottie and Dennis Rodman too.
Scottie Pippen.
But see, Dennis didn't take none of that. Dennis went about his business and hopped up off the court, and he just
because he didn't punk Dennis. Dennis didn't get punked.
Yeah, that's true. Dennis
did the punking.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Did Dennis Rodman punk him? Did he punk him though?
No, I don't think so. No.
I'm about to say,
but Dennis, he didn't want to mess. He didn't want to mess with Dennis. Dennis. No, he didn't want to mess. Dennis crazy.
Yeah. Yep. So shout out to Scottie Pippen, but let the Michael Jordan stuff go. Let's play a game here. Bro. Not at all. Let's play a game here. And this game is kind of not really a game, but this subject is kind of built off. I said in the chat the other day, the Heat are actually, I think, a championship contending team. And so it gave me the idea that we should probably look at some of the top teams in both conferences and teams that have not won a championship just yet. And these are really teams that have kind of been on the brink of winning the title the last couple of years. And we're going to see if they're contenders or pretenders, or if you're buying into the hype of a team that I'm going to list or whatever this early into the season. I think for most teams, probably 8 games in, 9 games in. So I'm going to name a team, name some of the things that they've been great at so far. And then I want to get your guys' opinion on it, roundtable style, if you think that if you guys believe in the hype for them so far. First team I'm going to name is the team that I mentioned a couple of seconds ago, and that's the Miami Heat. So far this season, they've been a great two-way team. Number 2 in offensive rating, number 2 in defensive rating. Jimmy Butler, who I think just last week was at the top of the MVP ladder. He's averaging 25 a game. Tyler Hero off the bench is averaging 22 a game. And Bam Adebayo is so far having his best start to a season. He's averaging 20 points and 14 rebounds per game. And also we have to mention Kyle Lowry and the production that he's giving him when he's been on the court. Just came off a really good game against Dallas in Dallas. So Carl, are you buying into the Miami Heat hype at this point into the season?
I'm buying into it. I'm just worried they're going to be too small because Bam, how tall is Bam? Like 6'9"?
Yep.
6'9".
And he's playing center. That I don't know if that's going to – he might hold up enough to make it to the finals with that, but I don't know if that's going to get them to where they need to be without having a true like 6, at least 6, like 11 or 7 foot true big man. But other than that, I think they have as good as it stands anybody to knock off the Bucks in the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Blake?
I still think it's kind of too early, but I mean, I think the start they've been off to has been kind of surprising. I honestly, I knew it would be a good, that good trio once they added Kyle Lowry. I thought I kind of had them like right behind the Bulls. But they've been a team full of surprises, especially Tyler Hero. I know we used to call him the bubble fraud. I guess we can't call him that no more.
Was he really a bubble fraud though?
Yeah, I think people viewed him as that because they like he's just a shooter. Where are these numbers coming from? That's why people call. I didn't agree with it because he was playing good. Keep in mind, Victor Oladipo wasn't playing.
I did forget about that. He tweeted something. Yeah, I remember. I said I forgot this dude was on the team. But to your point, yeah, he still is there. Remember they moved him and they had to trade a situation, I think. But the thing about it is, the thing that's impressing me is the offense. We've known Miami last season, especially. We knew how great they were as a defensive team. They've never been in question about their defense under Eric Spoelstra. Like, I don't think there's been a season since they've had Eric Spoelstra as a head coach where they haven't been a good enough defensive team. Maybe in those down years where they didn't make the playoffs post LeBron, but even still, when they were making the playoffs, they were always a great defensive team when they had the Josh Richardson, when they had those guys on the team. But, now they have an offense to match their defense, and Jimmy Butler's offensive attackers look great. Kyle Lowry has played a significant role in that as well. And then I remember, I think Tyler Hero made a comment earlier in the season. He was saying, now I'm playing alongside with Kyle Lowry and I have a legitimate point guard. And I thought about it and I was like, well, you had Goran Dragic before, but looking at what Kyle Lowry is doing, with his playmaking and all of that. He just excels at that relative to Goran Dragic. And that's no insult to Goran Dragic at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Dragic, as I said, we talked about it before, Goran Dragic in the bubble, when they got to the finals, was probably the best point guard in the bubble. No, not probably, was the best point guard in the bubble. So this is no insult to him, but looking at what Kyle Lowry is able to do, there are differences in their playing style. There are differences in the terms of the value that they're bringing to this team. And I think that's played a huge factor. And as Blake mentioned, the Tyler Hero pickup, he's averaging a straight 20 off the bench. And in that game against Dallas the other day, he looked absolutely lethal. You know what I mean? They couldn't check him. Very polished with how he's getting the ball on the hoop, very calculated. So, yeah, I mean, it's the thing that stands out to me the most. I'll let you go in a second, Gar, but the thing that makes stand out to the most is how great of an offensive team they are and how they've been able to match that with their ability to defend, because that's kind of been an issue for them, especially last season.
Yeah. Tyler Hero, he's found a way to get to his spots to where he can be as comfortable as he can be to make the baskets that he's been paid to make. Because I think he obviously in the offseason, I think he practiced on his dribbling a little bit, because his dribbling got better to me from what I've seen. Because at first he can kind of dribble a little bit, but now you have to kind of respect his dribbling, because he did an in and out like crossover on somebody on the Mavericks. Was it called the Pacers? It might have been the Pacers the other day. Yeah. It was a Mav. Okay. He did an in and out crossover, brother, like to beat the buzzer going into the second half, whatever. So that's pretty good. So if they get 22 from him, I'm gonna have to give them a look for Eastern Conference Finals and maybe the finals. Because that's a big deal.
It is a big deal. And I'm glad you mentioned size. And my thing with the size point is maybe with who they're trying to knock off in the East, that may not be much of an issue. I mean, it could be an issue with Milwaukee. Lopez, a guy who can kill you for rebounds.
Yeah,
Milwaukee,
but then again, Milwaukee probably the only one that'd be an issue with. Other than that, nobody really has big men on their team. Well, like 76ers, but Joel Embiid can kind of you can tire him out, to be honest.
Yeah. Bam can probably, I'm not saying he can check him, but Bam is going to be the guy that's going to put on him and all of that. But, it'll be an issue if they go in, like, let's say that they go in the finals and match up with the Lakers team, then you've got to worry about Dwight Howard and DeAndre Jordan and then Anthony Davis. And right there, that's three freaking 7-footers, who are elite level shot blockers. So, it could be an issue for them, but, I like their production and guys are off to these great starts. We haven't seen Jimmy Butler off to this great of a start in a Miami jersey yet. And he's always been great when he's been in Miami, but we've never seen him have this type of start and this type of energy. Not energy, but this type of start in the offensive end, especially. And I like that you mentioned that Tyler Hero is getting to his spots. Like, he is becoming a master at shot creation. He was always a good shot creator, even at Kentucky, and we saw it a little bit in the bubble, but we didn't see it like this. We didn't see it like this.
He playing hero ball in a good way.
Yeah.
But I remember.
Oh, you should get that.
Yeah. I remember when he came out of Kentucky, I was like, he went after 1 year. I thought he was gonna stay. I didn't think he was gonna come right. Yeah, but he proved me wrong.
Yeah. A lot of guys that Kentucky team kind of surprised me.
Kentucky one and done. They don't go to school. Just saying, but I ain't gonna say.
Yeah, no, they don't go to no class. They don't go to no classes. But yeah, man, shout out to him.
He's in his second year, right? Or third year.
It's year three.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then, as I said, we talked about Tyler Hero before, but people kind of overreacted to the down season last year. Was it really a down year for him? His numbers were up from his rookie year. You know what I mean? People kind of act. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't view it as that because I only viewed him as a shooter. When you're only viewed as a shooter, I don't expect you to do nothing but shoot. That's just me. Like, I'm not going to expect you to just start pulling up for 50 feet and averaging 30 points or 25 points. He's like a 15 points per game type of talent, maybe 18, probably 18. Where he's playing now.
Yeah. And I hope he can keep it up, and he's been the leading candidate for Sixth Man of the Year. I think we forgot to mention him last episode when we talked about Sixth Man of the Year candidates.
Melo.
Tyler Hero's better than Melo right now. You got to give it to him.
You're right. No, you're right. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Well, let's see who can keep it going for the long.
Honorable mention, Melo.
It's going to be Hero because Hero's just going to have the ball in his hands like a lot more. You know what I'm saying? And
Jaren Jackson been playing good too. He had 22 yesterday.
Yeah, and hopefully he get his numbers up because his numbers have been a little down generally speaking. He did have a great game last night, but generally speaking, his numbers have been down relative to the last couple of years. But he's, it's guy's still kind of getting in the rhythm and swing of things. Dame still isn't hot yet, so it's still, as we said, it's still early. But yeah, I'm buying this Miami team so far for sure. Another team in the East, and we're gonna hold them a little bit. I'm gonna say what they're doing right now, but they've got a great home record. They just got a win against they just beat my Wizards yesterday, right? Did the Sixers just beat the Wizards yesterday?
Bulls.
They beat the Bulls yesterday.
Oh, yeah, I I was about to say, y'all Wizards haven't lost in a week. You might need to slow down.
No, we did lose. We lost two straight.
Y'all did. Damn.
Back to normal.
Why you ain't tell me you was hiding there, weren't you? Why you tell me?
Hey, but Carl, it's business as usual, Carl.
No, they get back to it. I just know he ain't tell me they lost. He tell me when they win though.
That's true. But the Sixers, the best offensive rating in the NBA and the best 3-point percentage right now in the NBA, and as you said, that's surprising. That's totally different than what we've been seeing from them the last couple of years, where they've just sucked offensively. Question:
Ben Simmons effect.
Do you think a lot of this is due to the fact that Ben Simmons isn't here, so maybe the offense is flowing just a little bit better? Like, do you think that's the reason behind it?
I think it has to do. I think it has a lot to do with they're giving Seth Curry some more touches because he's been their closer. Actually, he closed the game out yesterday, so I think that has a lot to do with it. He can definitely average 20 points per game when he really wants to.
He's been amazing. He's He's shooting at like 60% from the floor, 50% from three. That's insane stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say people forget out of coming like in college, he was gonna be considered better than his brother. Remember how they were hyping him up? And dude, he was supposed to be better than his brother. He's still a pretty good pro though. But.
Yeah, hell of a player. And then, like I said, it's just surprising to see them be this good offensively, without Ben Simmons. But as I said, it could be the inverse. It could be because he's not there. Now, as we always mention, having a 6'10" point guard who can't shoot disrupts the flow of the offense. And, let's say we get Ben Simmons back. And I'm asking Blake this. Let's say we get Ben Simmons back for Philly and he reconciles with the team and reconciles with the front office, which I think is going to ultimately end up happening at some point. Do you think this team could continue this streak of good play and then eventually make something of themselves this season?
Well, first of all, that's a big hypothetical if I go over there first. And then second, I don't know. This team to me looks much better without Simmons playing. So if you get him back and then you got to reinsert him, it just kind of feels like you're just going back to last year. And we all saw what happened. What happened last year. So I don't know. I like to be. I don't know. We maybe if he could play different, but I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, and the thing about that is this: if you don't get him back, and then you just keep this team, I don't even want to say, do we think they're a championship contender? Because let's be honest, they're great right now, but this isn't a championship contender with Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and everybody. It's just not. So I think they're just going to, no matter what, the grass isn't that greener for Philly while they're off to this great start. They're still probably going to end up in a similar situation to what they were a couple years before, and that's probably second round and out, even if that, and like let's say something, the best thing possible that can happen is they find a trade package for Ben Simmons. That's the best thing possible at this point, and hopefully they can, you know what I mean? That could still end up being the direction, but who knows? Even Daryl Morey said, what do you say? Buckle up. This could take about 3 or 4 years, so we just don't know what the situation is, but like I say, if you don't get him back, you don't get something for him, then this Philly team is going to be where they've been. And that's just not being a great team, not having a great, a great amount, even you look at it too, like while they're off to this great start, Joel Embiid hasn't been that great. And he's averaging just 20 points a game,
Yes. He had 18 the other day, bro. I looked at the stat sheet and I saw they won. I was like, oh, so he must have had a really like a really good game for his standards. 18 points is terrible for his standards.
Yeah. And it could be that thing where it's just because other guys are stepping up playing well, maybe they're trusting, like they're running offense late through Seth Curry, and that could just be the situation that they're in. Maybe that's what's working for him right now. As I mentioned before, Max, he's been pretty solid. He's averaging like 14 a game. His 3-point percentage isn't what it needs to be, but he's looking great, and and kind of this optimized role as the team's point guard. So we'll see what happens with him. I'm assuming we're not buying into the Philly hype this early into the season.
Nah, yeah, I will say though, even though Joel's offensive numbers been down, his defense has been pretty good because he made a game-winning block against the Rosen yesterday.
Yep.
So that was pretty. It just feels like if you watch the 76ers game, you feel like the energy isn't there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like around the whole team. Like they don't seem like they're all really they don't seem like they're all really, I don't know.
There's something missing. There's clearly a void there. There's clearly a void.
Yeah.
It's a sleep show.
Yeah, but they've been good. I'll give them credit where credit's due. They've been good, and they've notched out a couple of great wins. And as I said, Seth Curry is having an amazing season. So we'll see what happens with them. Here's another one, and this is a team we've talked about many times. probably everybody's favorite team to watch right now so far, maybe. The Bulls, they're top 5 in 3-point percentage, top 10 in offensive rating, top 10 in defensive rating. They're a very clutch team, which is very, very telling. And I'm going to talk a little about that stat after I get your guys' opinion on these things. But how about this too? DeMar DeRozan is averaging 27 points a game on 51% shooting. Let's do this. Guess his 3-point percentage this season.
38.
38, right around 40, 38%. And it's not like he's just not. It is not like he's taking. He's taking about maybe, I'm guessing, I looked at the game by game. It's got to be around 2.5 a game. So he's taking threes and he's shooting them at a high clip. Are we buying into the Bulls hype? I mean, I think are we buying into that?
I want to because this is some exciting basketball that's being played.
Yeah,
I love it.
Because Zach LaVine averaging 26. So,
so now you have this. Yep, and now you have this duo that's shown that they can score the ball at a high level together and that they can coexist. And DeMar DeRozan was willing. And remember, the big question for us was: is DeMar DeRozan willing to be able to shoot longer shots, and he's doing that and he's shooting them at a very high clip. 38% is high for a guy who probably hasn't been over 30% his entire career. Has he had a season where he shot at over 30%? Probably not, and then now he's 38 and we'll have to see if he keeps it up, but he's made big time clutch baskets. Remember even the comeback they had against the Celtics at home, where that's kind of the beginning of the Celtics issue when Marcus Smart came out and made his statements. But the clutch statistic, the point that the team is so good down the stretch is very telling. I'd much rather have a team. One thing I want to see is, can they execute well down the stretch? I don't like seeing teams blow out a bunch of squads early in the season, because what I want to see is, do you have that ability to play well as a group, when it comes to those late games? And they've shown the ability to do that. They've shown the ability to execute well, in those late fourth quarter situations, especially DeMar DeRozan. So
how the Bulls offense and defense looks, that should be the Celtics. The Celtics offense should look like it. They should have two scoring wings in Zach LaVine and then you got and then they should have a point guard, and then they should have a big man in the middle like Vucevic. They should have got Vucevic. I don't even want to get started on that. I was mad that they try hard to get him in the trade. But yeah, that's who they should be playing like.
That's true. I didn't even think, and we've been asking the question, what are teams with two scoring wings? And we only thought about the Clippers. We didn't even think about Chicago.
We did, because you asked me yesterday and I forgot about it.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens, but they do look very, very promising, and as I said, the clutch statistic is very telling. It's not like they haven't been disappointing on any end, and maybe scoring off the bench, could be a little bit of a question. There's not a ton of it. Last night they got outscored by Philly's bench, by a very solid margin, a pretty big margin actually, but we'll see what happens. But even so, in the playoffs, you're going about 7 deep. And they've got, your question is, can we get consistent offense outside of DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine? And obviously Vooch hasn't been his absolute best self, so far this season. But, I mean, like I said, they've answered a lot of questions early on, and they beat. Remember last week we talked about they had a really big week ahead of them, and I think they went probably 2-1. They ended up beating the Celtics, and they ended up beating. They lost to the Knicks, but it was in a close one, and they ended up beating. I think they beat the Jazz. Did they end up getting the Jazz?
They 6-2. They only have 2 losses.
That's true. Yeah.
But I think Vucevic, he's averaging like 14. For them to need to go where they need to go, he's probably gonna average 18. But he'll get it up, because you got to keep in mind Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan's kind of getting the ball in the wing, so they'll figure out how to get him the ball. But
once
also
they kind of stretch out. Oh, my bad, bro.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say. Also, I don't know how it's gonna look when Kobe White comes back. I don't.
Ooh, I forgot about Kobe White.
You can bring him off the bench.
And Carl, right there. What did I just ask? I said bench production, where scoring production. Who's going to be your shot creator off the bench? Yeah. And Kobe White has about 2 or 3 years of experience of having the ball in his hands a lot and having to create for himself. Efficiency is going to be a little bit of a question, but still, that's a guy you can lock in for like 13, 14 a game off the reserves, You
got him and Caruso coming off the bench.
He'd probably be better in this spot rather than starting and trying to be there, that offense all the time, because at that height, he just probably isn't going to be what they want him to be. So in that role, I think he'd actually be better than what he was his rookie year and the second year, whatever.
I agree 100% with that.
He's about like 6'4", 6'5", I think.
That was his hair, bro. That was his hair.
He about 6. He definitely about 6'2" without the hair.
Yeah.
We're buying into Chicago. I like them, and they have been a team I've consistently checked in on. So shout out to the Bulls. Let's end it and then go with a couple of teams in the Western Conference. I'm gonna name one.
I got one. I got one.
Who's your one? Are you talking about who's your one?
Timberwolves, bro. It's the Timberwolves. Because
they dropped it.
Huh?
They sucked the last couple of games.
That's my point. Oh, you said contenders or pretenders? I thought you said pretenders.
Oh, pretender. I mean, but okay, are the Timberwolves even in this conversation though? Because I'm talking like, because I'm talking like teams at the top of like the respective conferences right now. You know, I think the Timberwolves are falling off.
I was just kind of saying they disappointed me.
Oh, okay.
You said that's what I meant.
Yeah.
They were 3-1, now they 3-4.
Yeah, it was destined to happen. Like I was a little skeptical about it at first. It was
destined.
Yeah, you did.
It was destined. I think it was destined to happen, but who knows? As I said, it's still early.
Trade everybody on the team and keep.
Did you see the thing where I don't know if you guys saw it today, but somebody said free Cat after they lost last night? It was like free Karl Anthony Towns.
He said he was had.
Yeah, that's hilarious to me. But then I mean the team as far as pretenders and contenders go, I'm gonna start with the Jazz. Once again, they're a great two-way team. They've got some great off the bench production from Jordan Clarkson and Hassan Whiteside. Eric Pascal has been somewhat solid. I haven't really checked up on his numbers, and we also haven't seen Rudy Gay just yet. And so we haven't really got to look at their small ball defense. And the small ball defense is what I think separates them from last season, to the point that they have Pascal and Gay, and now they can run those smaller lineups defensively. We haven't seen that just yet. But are you buying into the Utah Jazz hype just yet? And also quick credit to Donovan Mitchell. He's having a great run so far this season. He's looking like an MVP contender. Are we buying into Utah just yet?
No.
You know how I feel about Utah. I don't know yet. I will admit that they've gotten off to a very good start, pretty fast start this season. But I think they it's time now to kind of just, I don't know what's the word I'm looking, just amp it up a little bit. These past couple of years, they kind of mediocre finishes. So now you've revamped a little bit, signed Pascal, Rudy Gay, all those guys. I think it's time where you start dreaming a little bit bigger now, dreaming about some conference finals, maybe. Maybe a final, finals.
It should be finals, yeah.
Yeah, I think anything under conference finals appearances, I wouldn't say a waste of the season, but just not a productive season, or not a good.
Yeah. Yeah, and my question is, my bad. I was gonna ask Blake the question. My question is, with the additions that they made combined with how they're currently playing, do you think it's much more of a possibility now compared to last year that they can go to the finals?
I think it is. You got a little bit more depth coming out off that bench, so I think so. Defensively too.
Yeah, Hassan Whiteside's been great off the bench. Yeah.
So I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I just have a hard time believing in them because it's almost the same. It's going to be the same reoccurring thing it was with the Bucks before they won. They're a regular season team. When they get to the playoffs, can they really go far? Because literally last year, the only reason they probably lost against the Clippers, I'm going to credit the Clippers. They played pretty good defense and they started clamping down on them. But their shot selection was pretty bad. They kept taking stupid threes.
Mm-hmm. And they left Rudy Gobert in the game to get cooked by
but like I said, now they're not forced to do that anymore, especially when Gay or Pascal is back, and also too, I didn't even think about, and Carl's point, why you may not believe in them just yet. Donovan Mitchell's efficiency is still kind of in question. And we always talk about the defensive struggles and their inability to go small. But as you mentioned, efficiency and shot selection, they just seem to be a team that'll fall straight into just relying on the three ball so much. And as we see all the time in the playoffs, you either live or die by the 3-pointer. And we see him die by it. So, we can see Donovan Mitchell's shot selection get a little better and his efficiency go up, then I think I'll be a little bit more confident in this team. But I will say he's had a hell of a run these last couple of games. He's looked great. So far he's 25 a game on 41% shooting, but he's had like 30, 28, and 36, over his last three. And the shooting's been efficient with those nights, except for he had one against Chicago where he was 9 for 27. You know what I mean? I remember the announcer was talking about that game too. So, we'll see what happens. But efficiency is going to be in question. But I'm excited to see once Rudy Gay is healthy and he's back or he's in this lineup because we haven't really seen him yet. He's going to be able to do things defensively.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think most of the time if you're a team that relies so much on the three, I just don't think you're going to go that far unless you're the Warriors. They're the only team I think that can shoot a ton of threes and consistently count on them making it. Because once teams like Utah miss it, I think you got them beat, and you can beat them.
I mean, you can't. Yeah. With that, the way they're built. I mean, personnel they had, you can't really. The only team that can do that is Golden State. I'll forever say.
They got the best. They got the two best shooters all the time.
Basically.
So
I don't think you really can't replicate that offense. Yeah. That's a one of a kind offense for sure.
A lot of people had that problem.
Yeah.
But hopefully, I don't know, because they really should have been facing the Phoenix Suns in the conference finals, but they kind of choked. And
the Jazz.
Yeah, remember they were facing the Clippers and they had a 2-0 lead and they lost. They really should have won that series.
But I kind of would have liked to see I don't know. I feel like I think a Suns Jazz series low key may have been more evenly matched if you really think about it.
That's what I'm saying.
You got Ayton and Gobert, and then Chris Paul, Mike Conley, Booker and Mitch. Yeah, okay, all right, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know who would have won that, but
you know who. Phoenix.
I don't know, bro, because Donovan Mitchell, I was believing in him, and then he started taking some real bad shots. Because they were bad shots to begin with, but he's good at making bad shots, so sometimes that can like kind of mentally trick you. Sometimes, so yeah.
I think once you get in your head a little bit, you miss a couple shots. You're like, dang, he started getting in his head a little bit.
Dude, be down by 10, take a 30-footer.
Yep.
Yeah, those are the squads, man. Those are the squads we're going to talk about. Blake, you want to close us out?
Well, it's been wonderful talking to y'all.
Wow.
Great episode, man. Got some more. I think we got some more action tonight.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Thursday.
Yeah. Thursday night. Yeah. We got some Thursday night football going on too. Thursday night football.
Yeah, Ty don't know nothing about that. We the vets football. Ty just starting to get back into it. We've been trying to slowly push him to the football, but I don't know. Next time, Blake had a little intro and outro. I'm gonna come up with something special. I was a little nervous. I couldn't because I tried it and I messed up. But I'm gonna have y'all.
Yeah, we're gonna see y'all next Monday, right? Monday.
Yes, and don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube and download us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Thanks for getting us to 1,000 downloads. We got $1,000.
Yes.
Y'all better subscribe. I'm just playing.
Yeah.
But you over here threatening these.
No, I ain't threatening. I'm just saying y'all better subscribe. I don't know. I'm not gonna feel good if not. You want me to feel good? I'll help you feel good by watching this.
Help me help you.
Help me help you.
For sure. And we'll see y'all, as Blake mentioned, on Monday.